Welcome, everybody, to Redskins Relaunch, DMVSTREAM.COM, Facebook Live. I am your host, sitting in for Winston Hilton. I'm Colvin Underwood, and we have a lot to talk about. One of those times in the sports calendar that's full of things in the DMV. And it all starts, of course, with Redskins Relaunch right here. So we're going to talk about the NFL draft, and now we're seeing a lot of teams doing a lot of maneuvering and a lot of smoke screens being sent out, so we'll definitely talk about that. We'll also talk about if we think that the Redskins are actually winning the offseason. Is no news good news? We don't see a lot of smoke signals coming out of Ashburn, so is that a good thing? Or do we like it where, you know, the local teams always got their hands in something and rumors are flying and there's innuendo and everybody's all excited about what the draft holds or what trades might be out there for the Burgundy and Gold. So we'll definitely dive into that. And then, like I said, this is a great time to be a sports fan in the DMV. There's so many things going on. Nats getting their season going, you know, playing another game against their newfound hated rivals, Bryce Harper and the Phillies. Still weird to say it, isn't it? Bryce Harper and the Phillies.
And he's been smoking it.
And he has been smoking it. He really has, Ryan. He really has. He's been really hot off the gate. And, you know, he definitely has a little extra pep in his step when he plays the guys with the curly W. So we'll definitely talk about that. We'll also talk about the Wizards. Didn't make the playoffs this year. Shocker, right? And where they might go and what they might end up doing. A season that started with a lot of promise ended with a pretty heavy thud, another loss, and a trip to the lottery. So we'll talk about that. And, of course, got to talk about UVA, about those Cavaliers winning the national championship in a great game over Texas Tech. I know everybody thought that they were going to set the game back 100 years and both teams wouldn't even make it past 40, you know what they were saying, right? But that was a pretty good game and very exciting. And UVA did what they had to do, Ryan, and got the W.
Yes, they did.
I'm going to say this about it before we, you know, dive into the Burgundy and Gold. Hey, the history books are always going to show that they lost to UMBC, you know, and they're the only, you know, number one seed to lose to a 16 seed. That is never going to change. That's it for the history books. But for them to bounce back from that and not let that be the first sentence about the program under Tony Bennett is a big feather in their cap and shows how resilient those young men were and how they overcame just getting over that mental block, so to speak, of losing that game, you know, and all the things that comes along with it to bounce back, get some breaks, get some calls. That's going to happen. If you want to win a national championship, it's not going to be a smooth road. It's going to be kind of bumpy, and it was bumpy, and they were able to overcome that and beat a pretty good Texas Tech team that came out of nowhere. Nobody had Texas Tech. Nobody had Texas Tech.
This guy did.
You had Texas Tech.
I did.
Seriously.
Want me to pull my bracket up?
Get out of here. Why did you take them? Did you just have a feeling?
So my buddy Devin Thomas actually paid for Texas Tech 2 years ago. So I've been watching them for the past couple of years. And just how strong that team is defensively, they can run anyone up and down the gym. And they're 6, 7, 8 deep, run and gun and all on defense. Their defense is ridiculous.
Yeah, their defense was outstanding.
So I had two brackets. One where Duke winning it, as did half of America. And then also a little upset one where I had Texas Tech beating Houston, but I still had Texas Tech in the championship.
Yeah, I liked Houston too, but I didn't see, and I'm a Big 12 guy. So I always follow, you know, Kansas has been on top of that league for, you know, 1,000 years, and Texas Tech actually, you know, toppled them, but they lost in the first round of the Big 12 tournament to West Virginia, who was just not very good this year, and I just kind of said, but Texas Tech came back and had a great showing and knocked off some teams and got to the final. So we'll dive into that. But let's start at the beginning. The name of the show is Redskins Relaunch. Let's talk about the Burgundy and Gold. And now you can feel the anticipation starting to happen. The NFL draft is only a couple of weeks away down in Nashville. And now you're starting to see the maneuvering. Now you're starting to see the smoke screens. Now you're starting to see, you know, what we thought 2 weeks ago was going to happen maybe isn't going to happen. So now everything's fluid. Everything's changing. To the point now where one of the hot rumors was for the last maybe week or so, is that maybe Washington might do a deal with Arizona for Josh Rosen. Makes sense, right? The coach, Cliff Kingsbury, loves Kyler Murray. Has been on the record and said he loves Kyler Murray. They have the number 1 pick. He's so enamored with the young man that he would maybe take Kyler, first pick overall. Where would that leave Josh Rosen? So Josh Rosen, who was one of those vaunted quarterbacks in that quarterback class of last year, took some knocks. He took some bumps and bruises along the way, but a lot of people loved him coming out of UCLA and really thought that he had an upside and still do. And maybe Arizona's like, well, let's see what we can get for this guy. Let's just see what's out there and take a temperature and just see what we can get for him. And so, of course, Washington needs a quarterback. Washington would like to get a young quarterback. They have Case Keenum. They have Colt McCoy. They have Alex Smith, but they don't know if he's ever going to play again for the franchise. And so maybe, just maybe, because all the mocks you see have the Redskins taking Daniel Jones from Duke at 15. A lot of mocks have them taking him at 15. So, who's better? Would you like a quarterback that has a year under his belt, somebody with a tremendous upside? But what would you have to give up for Josh Rosen? What would you give up for Josh Rosen?
They better not be that pick. That first-round pick, no chance.
Now the rumor is that Arizona's holding out for a number 1. Okay, but if I'm going to give up a number 1 pick, I want somebody like Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
If I'm going to give up a number 1 pick, I want somebody that's going to come in and have that kind of impact and be a game changer. I don't know if Josh Rosen with Washington is a game changer. Maybe, maybe not, right? But you don't know. You don't know what they're going to do. You have no idea. So that's the rumor that's out there. So now it's being reported that as of today, a couple of outlets are saying that Washington is not pursuing a trade for Josh Rosen, that they just kind of inquired about what Arizona would like in return, and that maybe Josh Rosen isn't somebody that's in their future. This is the game of the pre-draft thing. I call you, you call me, we'll put something out there that maybe we're interested. But rest assured, it does look like this. It looks like Arizona is willing to deal that pick. Like they're listening to offers. And maybe they deal Rosen, or maybe they deal the pick, or maybe they sit tight. Maybe they take Kyler Murray. What would you do if you're Arizona? Arizona stunk last year. They only had 3 wins last year. Fired their coach. They have a newbie coach in Cliff Kingsbury, who was supposed to be some offensive savant in one of the masters of the air raid offense, and this is the way the league's going and all that great stuff. But they need players. They need people they can put in there and play. So at number 1, I don't know if I would take Kyler Murray, Ryan. I might take Bosa. Oh, man. He's a monster. He's a game changer. He's the kind of guy that you could take number 1 overall. You can put him in there, and your defense is going to get better. He's got the bloodlines. His brother's a monster with the Chargers. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a high-energy guy, motor, just a monster of a player. Comes from Ohio State. He's them Buckeyes. You know how they do when they get into the league, right? So I would take Bosa, but the options are out there. So let's get back to Washington. So now it looks like now you're starting to see where the Giants are kind of like, well, maybe we don't want to take Dwayne Haskins that early. Oakland jumps in and says, hey, we'll have Kyler come out to our place and we'll work him out. And you know how John Gruden feels about quarterbacks. He loves them. Maybe Derek Carr is available. Don't know. Don't know if there's a draft day deal that's brewing. But I think there's one thing that we can agree upon. Somebody's going to move up. Somebody's going to make a bold move. and get up in there to get a quarterback, because it's a quarterback-driven league, and you got to have a quarterback. And so this class might not be as great as people say it is, but I bet you people will still move up there to try to get him. All right, and if Haskins is available and he slides past 6, somebody's going to get him. Same for Kyler Murray. Drew Lock is a name that you're starting to hear now that might be available at 15, but I just don't think he's going to make it to 15. I really don't think he's going to make it. From what you're hearing, people really like what he brings to the table as far as, he has enough athleticism. He can make all the throws. He's the prototype. He has that prototype size. He played in a kind of a spread system in Missouri. He can fling the ball around. They like it, the mental aspect, smart enough to play the position. But one thing about it is, and I think we all know this as well, it's the scheme. What's the scheme? What's the scheme? What's the scheme? And that's the thing about Washington at 15 taking a quarterback. Is Jay Gruden have a plan to play if need be? You're going to play. If you're going to get somebody at 15, I've been saying this the whole time, if you've been watching Redskins Relaunch on DMVSTREAM.COM, Facebook Live, I've been saying that whoever they get at 15 needs to be somebody that plays immediately. They need to get somebody that plays immediately that's going to help them. So in that vein, if you get a quarterback, regardless of who it is, whether it's Kyler, whether it's Dwayne, whether it's, Daniel, if you get one of these guys, Drew Lock, Will Greer is somebody who's moving up. These people like Will Greer out of West Virginia, another guy that can fling it all over the place, played in that crazy spread up there, and he's starting to he's starting to move up the ranks as well. So would Jay Gruden have an offensive scheme to play a quarterback? Are you saying if you get a quarterback at 15, are you saying, well, here's somebody that we want to sit behind Colt and Case and learn? I don't think would you do that at 15 for a team that has holes that draft position can help? I don't think so. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, Ron, I think you got to, because you have to get somebody that plays. And look what they've done the offseason. They got, Landon Collins, so they helped the defense out, made some minor moves and things. But I think at 15 now, I think you have to get the best offensive playmaker that's out there.
Yeah.
I really do. And I've changed on that. But you don't have Crowder. He's gone. Right? So now what you have to do is you have to go out and get somebody that can make plays on offense, because you don't have a lot of playmakers on offense. If Geis comes back and he's healthy, you think he's going to really ramp up your running game. You know what Peterson can do, a healthy Chris Thompson. So you got a 3-headed monster that you can run and throw the ball to on the, from the backfield perspective. But what do you have on the outside? You have nobody that can take the top off the defense unless Richardson comes back healthy. But that's a big if.
Big if.
Big if. So you have an if there. Dotson, we're still waiting on. We're still waiting on that impact player that Dotson can be. But maybe the reason that you don't take a wide receiver is because of the experience that you have with Dotson. Dotson, first-round pick, hasn't really been the impact guy that you thought he would be. Yes, he can make some plays. Yes, he gives you flashes. But this team needs more consistency. It needs a big play, home run hitter kind of guy, or at least somebody who's consistent enough to move the chains. I don't know if Dotson's that person. We know he's a red zone target. We know about his size. He doesn't have the greatest speed, but he can cause some separation. But if I'm looking at this draft, I'm looking at, okay, who's going to be at 15 that's going to propel my offense? Your defense, look, it's a defensive draft. There's going to be a lot of defensive linemen. There's a lot of people sliding down, whether it's Montez Sweat, I love Ed Oliver from Houston. But your interior line is really good. A pass rusher, there's going to be pass rushers there as well. You're going to have edge rushers there that you might want to combine with Ryan Kerrigan and give somebody on the other side that can get to that's going to really enhance the defense and get to the quarterback. So there's going to be somebody there. But now I'm starting to look at this, Ron, and I see they have a hole on offense that they need to fill. They need to go out and get a playmaker.
Yeah.
So who's going to be at 15 that could be a playmaker that you might take a chance on? There's no guarantees at 15 either. If you check out all these mocks, if there's an offensive person there that might, somebody you can say, definitely, I'm going to get this guy. He's going to help the team.
Yeah, you had a Todd Booth chiming in on Facebook. Appreciate you watching, brother. I trade Keenum in a third and draft Metcalf with a first-round pick. DJ Metcalf, tight end. Interesting.
So you would use Case Keenum as trade bait in a 3 to get Metcalf. I thought Metcalf was a receiver from Mississippi.
Thought he's the big tight end.
Is it tight end?
Tight end big. They said his speed, his physique, unreal.
Okay, so you're talking about this is the guy that everybody was wild at the combine.
At the combine.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah, wide receiver.
He's a wide receiver.
I think his body. I thought he was a tight end.
Right. No, he's built like a god. Right.
Yeah.
But now the thing they say about Metcalf is that the intangibles are off the charts. Run, jump, all that stuff. The numbers are crazy. But if you look at his tape, he didn't show that much at Mississippi. He didn't show that much.
His combine got him up stock. His combine.
But you can't. If you're Washington, can you take a combine, flash in the pan kind of cat, or do you need somebody who's proven? Because your tape, the scouts just say the tape don't lie. The tape don't lie. So if he didn't show and prove at Mississippi, and Mississippi's a great place in the SEC, if you're SEC and you're productive, you're probably going to be productive at the next level. Probably. It's iffy.
Yeah, DJ Bland chiming in.
What's up,
always
DJ?
coming in every week. Metcalf, bad route running skills. Todd chimes back in. Yeah, the wide receiver from Mississippi, and then you trade for Rosen. So you get Rosen throwing him the ball.
I like it. That's what I like. I like how to put these moves together. So you get Rosen. Here's the thing about Rosen, though. I will put this out there. And if you get Rosen, you can say goodbye to Alex Smith. Because there's no need to bring Alex Smith back to play. Because your future is taken care of. So you're saying Alex Smith is in our future. You're saying we'll have him in the building so he can share that beautiful mind with the young quarterbacks, and maybe that's how you get your money's worth. If you get Josh Rosen or you draft a quarterback at 15, the Alex Smith thing is way done now. It's way done. It takes all the, is he going to come back? Do we expect him to come back? Doesn't make any difference. If you take a quarterback at 15 or you go get Rosen, then no more Alex Smith. So I'll look at that's a definite. But let me ask you guys this. The other scenario that's out there says Washington moves up to maybe get Haskins or maybe get Kyler. Do you do that? Do you take draft capital? That means you're maybe one of those 3s that you have, or your 2 or a future pick to get up to get one of those quarterbacks. So my whole thing was this. I know you want a young quarterback. I get that. But do you want the young quarterback this year, or do you want the young quarterback next year? Because you're going to have more depth at the quarterback position next year. Doesn't mean that you're going to be in a position to get a quarterback next year, but maybe you try to set it up with an eye towards next year. See, the whole thing is, if you're trying to make the playoffs, and Jay Gruden wants to keep his job, he's going to have to make the playoffs, because 8-8 and 7-9 and maybe even 9-7 might not get it done if you don't make the playoffs. Then this draft becomes about making the playoffs. This draft becomes about how are we going to infuse some young talent, some athleticism, some whatever into this team to get us where we want to get to this year coming up, not a year or two down the line. Because Josh Rosen might be a year or two down the line kind of deal. You got Case Keenum for a reason. You like Colt McCoy for a reason, because they're ready now. So 15 has to be a pick that's ready now. Now, smart money says, instead of reaching for Metcalf, maybe you get offensive linemen. You need depth on the offensive line. Maybe you get offensive linemen there. Tight end's another position where maybe Washington, there'll be a tight end. Maybe there's a tight end there. Maybe you don't have maybe your draft evaluation doesn't value tight end there. But these tight ends that are out there, whether it be Irv Smith from Alabama, the kid from Iowa, if it's one of those guys who are considered to be the top tight ends out there, maybe that's somebody you can throw to. That's somebody that your quarterback's going to need. You need a good tight end. We're not going to say anything about Jordan Reed because we don't really know kind of if he's in. How does the team feel about him, and is he in their plans for the future and what they want to do? So the question again, I'll bring it back to where we started at the beginning. Is Washington winning the offseason? Are you happy with what they've done so far? Are you happy that there hasn't been a lot of fireworks from Ashburn? Landing Landon Collins, that's a lot to say, was a huge move. I didn't see that one coming. They got their guy, really solidifies their defense, really fills a hole on defense. One great move. Is that enough? Are you happy with that?
Looking at the latest CBS Sports mock draft for the Redskins.
Yes.
They have, in the first round, they trade their 15th pick to the Jets to get the 3rd overall pick and draft Haskins. Second round, they get wide receiver Paris Campbell from Ohio State, Haskins' teammate.
Makes sense.
And then outside linebacker Christian Miller from Bama. They would also trade the third round pick, number 96. That would be included with the trade to the Jets. With the so the first round 15 and the third round 96 to the Jets. And then after that, they're going guard. Also getting quarterback Ryan Finley from NC State in the 5th round.
Okay.
Tight end Trevon Wesco from West Virginia.
Okay.
And then offensive tackle Tyler Romer from San Diego State, and wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Not the Keyshawn, but Keyshawn Johnson from Fresno State.
Now, that is a mock draft. That draft hits everything that the Burgundy and Gold needs coming up, and it fills all the holes. So let's talk about that for a second. Washington takes the first round pick. They have draft capital. They have 2 third-round picks. So now you package the first and the third to the Jets. A Jets team that's been crazy busy in the offseason, signing everybody they can sign, from Le'Veon Bell on down. A team that's really on the rise, a team that has a lot of cap space, a team that really might not want to have that 3rd pick, although, they need players too. And nobody wants to pick at the top of the draft, but this draft is pretty good. You can get what you want up there. But they definitely don't need a quarterback because they have Darnold. But again, like I said earlier, somebody's going to jump up and make a move. Yeah. Somebody's going to jump up and make a move. So again, all my folks out there, fans of the Burgundy and Gold, would you like to see Washington make a move like that to get a hometown guy in Dwayne Haskins? But somebody only had 1 year as a starter at Ohio State, but he had a monster year. And I know a lot of the scouts love him. If you see the draft evaluations on the 4-letter major sports network that's out there, they love him. I don't hear anything bad about him except the 1 year starter. He maybe just didn't have enough experience under center, but has the size, mobile in the pocket, makes all the throws, intelligent. He has all the intangibles. And, for a team that could use some good PR, nothing like taking a hometown kid. Nothing like taking a hometown kid.
Bullis School.
That's right. Was that close to going to Maryland?
He was committed.
Was
And then
committed.
decommitted.
And that Randy Edsel. Yeah, Randy Edsel, right? He was gonna play for Randy Edsel at Maryland, and then Edsel got shown the door, and then he went to Ohio State. So he was highly recruited coming out of Bullish School, and had great success and got to learn and got to play for a guy who is considered a quarterback whisperer in Ryan Day, who's the new head coach at the Ohio State University. So there's a lot of upside to getting somebody like Dwayne Haskins, and maybe there's a lot of excitement to be built around a pick like that. But you're still giving up 2 picks for a team that has a lot of holes that this draft can address. Something to think about. We're going to take a quick break. DMVSTREAM.COM, Facebook Live. I'm Colvin Underwood. The name of the show is Redskins Relaunch. We'll dive more into the burgundy and gold on the other side of the break. We will be right back.
DMVSTREAM.com is the Mid-Atlantic's leader in sports video, broadcasting, and live streaming. Utilizing state-of-the-art production tools, DMVSTREAM.com provides an unparalleled viewing experience from events like amateur, high school, AAU, youth, colleges, and professional sporting events. Using multiple camera angles, live scoring, graphics, and a complete broadcast crew, all working together to showcase the DMV's finest. Contact us today to learn more about our services and streaming packages. Visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.com. This content is brought to you by Dental Associates. For more than 39 years, Dr. Stephen Price has been practicing dentistry in Northern Virginia. A member of the American Dental Association, the Northern Virginia Dental Society, and the Virginia Dental Society, Price is considered an expert in Invisalign and continues to be an award-winning innovator in the industry.